The Week 6 review episode of the Bears Talk Underground is brought to you by MyBookie. You know, guys, tough day for us Bear fans on Sunday, coming up short against the Dolphins. If you went to MyBookie over the weekend, I hope you bet on the Dolphins or that the Bears wouldn't cover the spread or whatever. The truth is, you know, I didn't know it was going to go down that way. I would have lost money. But if you think you know, MyBookie is the place to go. Remember, who you're betting on is just as important as who you're betting with, and that's why I always tell you to go with MyBookie. They are your best bet this season. They have been in business for years. They have great reviews online, and their mobile site is easy to use. So that's why I'm urging you to go to MyBookie. You win, and they pay. We didn't win today, so we don't get paid, but, you know. But they have in-game live betting, over-unders on fantasy points scored, and the most rewarding player perks in the business. So right now, MyBookie is looking to give you the best service possible. If you're willing to make a deposit after 7 p.m. Eastern, they'll give you an additional $25 in free play on deposits over $100. Join now, and MyBookie will match your deposit dollar for dollar as well. Use promo code BEARS25 to activate the offer. So visit MyBookie online today. That's MyBookie, MyBookie. And don't forget to use the promo code BEARS25 when creating your account to claim up to $1,000 in free play. And if you're willing to hold on until after 7 p.m., you can get an extra $25 in free play as well using the promo code BEARS25. So there you have it, guys. MyBookie. You play, you win, you get paid. This week on the Bears Talk Underground, as our beloved continue to climb up the power rankings on their bye week, experts wondered if the Bears would be able to maintain the success they had in the first 4 weeks as they traveled down to Miami to take on a Dolphins team on a 2-game losing streak and looking to keep themselves atop the AFC East. How did the Bears look coming off of the bye, and did it get us a win? All of this plus Bear Up and Bear Down on the Week 6 review episode of the Bears Talk Underground. So much for getting 4 in a row out there in South Florida and coming off the bye with all the momentum and so on and so forth. As our beloved fell short to the Dolphins yesterday in overtime, 31-28. What's going on, everybody? Larry D back for the Week 6 review episode of the Bears Talk Underground. And, you know, I got to say, as a football fan, yesterday's game was a whole lot of fun, especially in the second half. You know, the Bears offense woke up. The Dolphins were answering back. It came down to the wire in regulation, goes into overtime. The Dolphins look like they've got this game by the throat. The Bears cause the fumble at the goal line, take it all the way back, get themselves in field goal range and miss that. And then the Dolphins come back, and with 3 seconds left, they attempt a field goal. We're either going to lose or we're going to tie. And they put it through the uprights and come away with the victory. As a football fan, you couldn't ask for a much better game than the one that we got yesterday. As a Bear fan, it sucked, man. It absolutely sucked. The third quarter was awesome. Having us go back from having no offense in the first half to rattling off 3 touchdowns in 8 plays in the third quarter. And then in the fourth quarter, you know, we after Miami ties the football game, and we'll talk about that here in just a minute, the offense comes right back, scores another touchdown, gets the lead back, and everything. It's like, man, we are rolling on offense now. And then, you know, the defense, man, the defense just didn't have it yesterday. As dominant and as imposing as they had been in the first 4 weeks of the season, they just did not show up yesterday. I mean, Kyle Fuller made some plays. Roquan Smith was all over the place making tackles yesterday, and Akeem Hicks was the hero in overtime. But in the end, it just too little too late from the defense, and you know, they did not bring their best, and you know, you'll hear me say like on the knee-jerk reaction, especially in the one in the second quarter, I don't know if it was the heat or if it was rust, maybe because Nagy gave him the whole week off, the whole bye week off. Did he give them too much time off? You know, did they have too much rest? Were they a little, they as not as hardened as they needed to be going into that game? Or, is it because we weren't at home, because we play better at home than we do on the road? Whatever it was, it just did not come up aces for us yesterday, and the Bears fell short to the Dolphins. And, a fantastic game, though, a fantastic game. Stepping back as a football fan, like I said, you couldn't ask for a much better game. And it sounded like there were several of them yesterday. The Patriots and interestingly enough, the Patriots, who we play next Sunday, went down to the wire with the Chiefs last night. The Bengals and the Steelers went down to the last minutes or last 10 seconds yesterday. Even the Falcons and the Buccaneers, 34-29 shootout. And if the ball bounces a different way, maybe the Buccaneers pull off that crazy schoolyard, crazy touchdown play yesterday. If Deshaun Jackson catches the ball instead of letting it slip through his fingers, who knows what happens out there in Tampa yesterday. There were tons of games like that yesterday. The Bears and Dolphins were just one of them. It was a lot of fun to watch, but as a Bear fan, just nothing but stress and insanity yesterday. And we'll talk about it. We got plenty to break down here. In the first quarter, you'll hear it in my knee-jerk reaction, just like the defense wasn't looking – the defense they came out flat. The offense was back to its inconsistent self. Mitch was missing wide open receivers again. It was the week 1 through 3 offense that we knew. It was hit on one play and miss on the next 5, so that one play didn't matter, kind of thing. It was very difficult to watch, and it left a bitter taste in your mouth because you're still, as a fan, you're still riding high. I mean, it was 2 weeks ago, but it felt like it was yesterday that we just got done ransacking the Buccaneers. And I'm not saying that I wanted the Bears to come out and score 50 again this week, but I certainly wanted to see them come out with a hell of a lot more pop and energy and consistency than what they showed in that first quarter.
Knee-jerk reaction to the first quarter of the Bears and the Dolphins, and it has been a disaster so far. 2 drives out of the Bears offense resulted in a 3-and-out and getting stopped short on 4th and 1 at midfield. The Dolphins, on the other hand, are crushing it so far. They got a first down on their first drive, then they went 3-and-out after that. Punted the Bears deep. That's where our 3-and-out came from. Second drive on the short field, because the Bears started their drive from the 10 and didn't get a first down. They took the short field and put it in the end zone to go up 7-0 on the Bears. And the Bears look like a team that hasn't played in a couple of weeks. Like, all the momentum that we had going into the bye week seems to be gone at this point. They still haven't quite woken up yet. And this third drive from the offense that ended the first quarter will start the second. Is more of the same. They're moving the football. Frank Gore is running the ball now, and it just looks like the Dolphins came in ready to play. The Bears not quite just yet. So hopefully they'll snap out of it and they'll clean these things up and get themselves back in this ball game. But we look kind of out of sorts right now. I mean, on that first drive, the Bears could have easily just taken this game by the throat and drove it home. But twice, Mitch Trubisky missed wide open receivers down the field, especially on that third down play. He had Anthony Miller wide open down the middle of the field, and he overthrew him. So it looks like we're back to weeks 1 through 3, Mitch Trubisky, not making the best decision, missing wide open wide receivers. Until I say otherwise, I say that looking at it right now, the Tampa Bay game was a fluke. So hopefully we can get this thing turned around. We're only down 7-0, but Miami is driving.
So you can hear the disappointment in my voice calling the Tampa Bay game a fluke based on what I saw in the first quarter. And I don't think that there would be too many of you guys out there, fellow Bear fans, that would disagree with me after watching what our offense put on the field in the first frame against the Dolphins. We looked out of sorts, and there's only so much you can blame on ring rust as far as the having 2 weeks off or having a bye week and what have you. It just it stops being an excuse after a while. And it just we didn't look good. And like I said, Trubisky was back to missing wide receivers. That play on third down to Anthony Miller that I just mentioned very well could have been a touchdown if he hits him. But he sent it sailing over his head, kind of like those missed throws to Taylor Gabriel in weeks 2 and 3 against Arizona and Seattle. You know, those would have been game changers of plays if Trubisky just puts it in the right spot. And Miami did a decent job of putting pressure on him, but not so much that it was affecting the throws the way that Trubisky was delivering them in the first quarter. So, a bit of an extreme attitude, but that's again why I do the knee-jerk reactions. I want you guys to feel what I'm feeling in the moment. That's why I don't record the shows after the games, because it would just be chaos. You guys have actually had a chance a few times to hear what that sounds like. For my OGs that have been with me since back in the day, the 2009 Thursday night game against the 49ers is a legendary episode for those of you who got to hear it way back when. The little mini recorder that I used to record my knee-jerk reactions, I used that to literally record the show in my car on the way home. That's how pissed off I was after that 49er game. And then, of course, last year in 2017, a 40-plus minute profanity-laced tirade after the Bears lose to the Brett Hundley-led Green Bay Packers in Week 10. Coming off of the bye that week as well. I mean, you guys, if you heard that one, you remember fully how pissed off I was after we lost that game. I had just had it with just about everybody after that game. The defense that was awesome in the first 8 weeks did not show up, and we lost to Brett Hundley, for Christ's sake. And then our offense, we're depending on Josh Bellamy. Why don't we have Inman in there? Why isn't so-and-so in there? And all the rest of that stuff. I mean, such a huge disappointment that game was, and I just couldn't hold back. But that's why I do the knee-jerk reaction, so you guys get a feel for what I'm feeling in the moment. And that's what I was feeling after the first quarter. I was severely disappointed. I felt let down after the first 15 minutes watching them come out of the gates the way that they did. But in the second quarter, it wasn't much better. I wasn't feeling that much happier about it. However, we're still in the ball game, so there is still a reason for a sense of hope and optimism, playing as poorly as we had, but still only being down one score.
Knee-jerk reaction to the second quarter, the Bears and the Dolphins, and the old offense is back. The Week 4 offense is apparently an anomaly, or was a fluke, because we're seeing none of it this week. The Bears' best drive of the second quarter should have been a touchdown. Jordan Howard from 2 yards out. He's running in. He falls into the end zone, only he forgot the damn football. And here's the best part. It wasn't a play that the Dolphins made. He actually, as he was running into his own player to kind of bury his head into his offensive lineman's back and run into the end zone, managed to knock the ball out of his own hands and was recovered by the Dolphins at the 1 yard line. They were actually putting a decent drive together to finish the first half, but Kyle Fuller made an interception on Brock Osweiler, second to last play of the first half, and then the Bears basically kneel on it to close out the first half, and that's your first half. So the Bears got away. Actually, it's more the Dolphins got away with it than the Bears got away with it, because the Bears finally put a decent drive together, a really great catch from Taylor Gabriel to set that whole thing up. And then Jordan Howard fumbles the football. I need to get the ball in my hands more. Put the ball in his hands, and this is what he does. So I don't know. But it's only 7-0. We start the second half with the football. Hopefully this was a kick in the ass that we needed, and we come out in the second half firing on all cylinders, because right now Miami is the team that deserves to win this game after the first 30 minutes. The Bears have done nothing. They haven't really put any pressure on Osweiler. They're having trouble stopping the run now. I mean, I don't know if it's the heat, if it's rust from the layoff, or if it's the fact that we just play better at home than we do on the road. I don't know what it is, but we need to get it fixed, and we need to get it fixed quick, or we're going to lose this game.
Let's talk about that Jordan Howard play for a second. I mean, it basically went down exactly how I said it. He's got the football. He looks like he basically he's going to fall into the end zone, and he runs right into the back of one of his offensive linemen. And when he does that, his arm moves, and then the next time he pumps his leg up into his arm, it knocks the football loose, and the Dolphins recover it at the 1 yard line. From the angle that I saw, that's how it went down. I didn't see a Dolphin defender knock the ball out of his hands. I saw Jordan Howard knocking it out of his own hands. So it wasn't like a good defensive play or somebody put a helmet on the football or anything like that. It was just very uncharacteristic. Jordan Howard doesn't fumble the ball a lot. I mean, the last time I can remember Howard fumbling the ball was against Pittsburgh last year? And that's like week 3. So we're talking about a full year and change, because I can't think of any other time that Howard fumbled the ball. That's the last time that I can recall. And I'm not even sure that wasn't Tariq Cohen, to be honest with you. I know that he fumbled once last year. I think it was in that Pittsburgh game. But nonetheless, Jordan Howard doesn't fumble the ball. And here we are at this critical time. Our offense is struggling, and he fumbles the ball at the 1 yard line when he's basically walking into the end zone. And I read an article today, I think it was one of the Sun-Times or the Tribune, one of the two, saying that they think that it had something to do that not only did Trubisky wear his quote-unquote lucky sleeve against the Dolphins yesterday, but Jordan Howard was wearing a sleeve on his forearm as well, and thinking that maybe the nylon material along with the moisture from the sweat and whatever, because when it's 88 and humid, your whole body sweats, and you're just moist all over. It's disgusting. And that's with the slippery material on his forearm could be what jarred the ball loose. And maybe that's what the case was, because I also read about a sentence or two later that the sleeve came off after that play and didn't come back on for the rest of the game. So maybe that's what happened. But nonetheless, that was a hell of a time to fumble the football, and this is after you just spent the bye week talking about how you want to be a bigger part of the offense, you want the ball in your hands. Then you can't fumble the ball at the goal line, bro. You just can't, especially when that would have been a huge boost. It was our best drive of the first half, sparked by that awesome catch that Taylor Gabriel made. Trubisky threw a dime. It was like right between two defenders. Gabriel catches it falling down onto his back and everything. It was an amazing play. And to be able to get it down there and by the goal line and just walk it into the end zone, and then the next thing you know, the football is on the ground and the Dolphins have it, and it's like none of it ever happened. And that was our best shot in the first half. So, and luckily the Bears, the defense, which did not play well at all yesterday, was able to hold the Dolphins off. Kyle Fuller with the pick just before halftime shuts down another scoring opportunity for the Dolphins, and we go into the halftime only down a touchdown. So you heard me say it in the knee-jerk reaction. Was it the heat? Is it the layoff? Is it being on the road, and is it psychological? We're not at home, we're on the road. Is it those god-awful orange jerseys? Maybe that had something to do with it, because I just got done watching the highlights before I started the show just to see if they had another angle of the Howard fumble. I don't understand how you guys like those jerseys. They are awful. And maybe you're looking at it from a different perspective, as in it makes a cool shirt like to wear. It looks good with a pair of jeans. I don't disagree with that. But does it look good on the field underneath those navy blue helmets? No, it does not. It does not. It looks awful. I just can't. Yesterday was an eyesore. It's like, I believe that we lost because we wore those goddamn jerseys. They're awful. They're awful. Ugly. I hate them. And now we lost wearing them. So they're forever bad luck. And we got to wear them one more time again this year. We're probably going to lose that game too, because when you look good, you play good. And we didn't look good yesterday. Not even a little bit. So, but then, of course, like I said, hoping that the first half was just the kick in the ass that we needed. Matt Nagy and Vic Fangio and the rest of the brain trust of the Chicago Bear coaching staff put their heads together, got the players motivated, and came out and had a hell of a third quarter.
Knee-jerk reaction to the third quarter, the Bears and the Dolphins, and things have definitely changed. Our defense, I'm worried about our defense, but the offense seems to have bounced back nicely. 3 drives in the third quarter resulted in 3 touchdowns for our beloved Chicago Bears, 21 points on the board as opposed to 0 in the entire first half. The Bears come out firing right away with the help of a pass interference penalty. The Bears get down a 10-yard shovel pass to Trey Burton to get themselves on the board, tie the game up at 7. And then I think first or second play of the next drive, Osweiler throws a pick to Kyle Fuller, who nearly takes it back for a touchdown. One play into that drive, Allen Robinson from Trubisky in the end zone. We're up 14-7. Then the Bears get the ball back again. Huge pass play down the field to Taylor Gabriel, who has over 100 yards receiving on only 4 catches today. And then 21-yard run, a 3-play drive. It was like the big pass play to Gabriel, incomplete throw from Trubisky, 21-yard run to Jordan Howard. Boom, the Bears are up 21-10 at this point. The only thing that worries me is that those 3 touchdown drives were 8 plays total. So the defense has been out there for the majority of the third quarter, and the Dolphins just added another field goal to make it 21-13. So it's a 1-score game, and our defense might be getting worn out in this Miami heat. I mean, it's 88 and humid down there in Florida when they're coming from Chicago in the Midwest, where it's been in the 40s and overnight it's been in the 30s in the Midwest the last week or so. So this heat could be weighing down on the defense. They're having trouble stopping the run. They're not tackling well. That shows fatigue to me. So it's not poor tackling, it's fatigue on my part. And here we are, the Bears have the football to start the fourth quarter. I'm hoping we slow things down a little bit, keep the chains moving, give the defense a little bit of a breather before we have to throw them back out there. And if you can, add some more points to this 8-point lead. But it's 21-13. We've got a lead. Now we just have to hang on to it and hopefully add a little bit to it.
I do put a lot on what happened to the defense in the heat fatigue category. I mean, the first thing that goes when you're tired as a football player is your technique. You're not going to come in as strong. You know, you're not going to get your feet underneath you. Saw a lot of arm tackles yesterday. Guys still trying to make an effort when they don't have as much in the tank as they usually would. I mean, yesterday was an unbearably hot day from the looks of it. And everything. It was just not favorable for the Bears, and you just saw a lot of it going on. I mean, especially, good God, in the fourth quarter, and what a disaster the fourth quarter turned out to be. And we'll get to that here in just a minute. But the third quarter, the offense comes out firing, man, and you know it's a bittersweet thing now that we go back and look about it, because it's exactly what I was saying. During the knee-jerk reaction, we scored 21 points in 8 plays combined. Four plays on the first drive, 1 play after the interception, and then 3 plays on the following drive. And, you know, there we are. We've got 21 points on the board, but we're doing it in such like bang-bang fashion that our defense was basically out on the field the entire third quarter. And while they were able to hold for field goals, they were still having trouble stopping the run. I mean, Frank Gore, granted, he's an ageless wonder at this point. The guy's still running like a champion. You know, all the respect in the world for Frank Gore. I mean, how many times have we thought the guy was done, and then he keeps having games like this against everybody, not just against the Bears. But, you know, he comes out and he's running like a stud. He's getting almost like 6.5 to 7 yards a carry against the Bears yesterday. I mean, there's no excuse for that. But he's, like I said, he's running through arm tackles. Guys aren't wrapping up and everything like that. It was very difficult to watch this defense get run through yesterday. And I saw like a tweet today saying how the defense was exposed yesterday. Was it though? Was it really exposed? I mean, for a team that's got a decent pass rush, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that what you need to do is get the ball out of your quarterback's hands as quickly as possible. That's exactly what Adam Gase did yesterday with Osweiler. I mean, everybody wants to talk about the 380 yards that Osweiler threw for yesterday. Nobody's talking about the fact that a lot of those yards were yards after the catch. You know, if all things being equal and the defense is playing the way that it had been as far as their sure tackling up until yesterday, I don't think Osweiler has anywhere near statistically the day that he ended up having. You know, maybe the Dolphins have the same kind of success because they were able to effectively move the football against the defense yesterday and get it out of Osweiler's hands quickly enough so that it kind of nullified the pass rush. But a lot of it, because of the poor tackling, because of the fatigue and whatever, you know, you want to hang it on. I mean, just look at the fourth quarter, and we'll just jump right to it. The Albert Wilson's 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter were both short passes that turned into huge gains. They were one was a short crossing route, one was a bubble screen that became huge plays. One for 47 yards, the other one for 75. So, I mean, that's basically a third of the yardage that Brock Osweiler threw for yesterday. He threw for 380 yards. Albert Wilson had 155 yards on 4 catches, but he had 120 on 2 catches yesterday. And I would wager a guess that maybe as far as from the line of scrimmage to where he caught the ball, maybe a combined 10 or 12 yards, and then the rest of it was him navigating his way through the fatigued, poor tackling defense of the Chicago Bears yesterday. So for me, it wasn't about, oh my God, Brock Osweiler beats us again, as more so as the Bears kind of beat themselves, and then the elements got to the Bears yesterday. You know, because I don't see the Bears defense playing the same way next week against New England, you know, regardless of the fact that it's Tom Brady. But, you know, maybe he'll still be able to kind of pick us apart the way that Osweiler was in the short passing game. I don't see Josh Gordon taking a 4-yard pass 80 yards to the house. I don't see that happening. I just don't. So we'll see what happens as far as that goes. I'm getting ahead of myself. But, you know, the third quarter, it was a return to form for the offense. You know, moving the ball and being a quick strike, big play offense, the one that we saw against Tampa Bay. It was nice to see. And Mitch returning to form again, finding his receivers, hitting the open man, making the right decisions, and what have you. So, I mean, to rattle off 21 points like that was fantastic. But I did have in the back of my mind, how is the fact that we're basically sending the defense right back out there? As much as we need those points and you know, and all the rest of that, we're sending a tired defense that's been sun-beaten all day long back out on the field to get beat on by the sun some more. So it was a very bittersweet thing. It's like, hell yeah, we got some points. You know, I think we got control of this thing. Then obviously what happens in the fourth quarter happens. And, you know, it turns out I might have been right. We did score just a little bit too fast in the third quarter.
Knee-jerk reaction to the fourth quarter, the Bears and the Dolphins. And thanks to a ticky-tack offensive pass interference call, a 15-point swing occurred. Pass from about 5 yards out, but Trey Burton is called for offensive pass interference. They called him for a pick play, basically. A play that happens on every offensive snap in the NFL, but they called it there. The very next play after the 10-yard penalty, Mitch tries to force a throw into the end zone. It gets picked off. The ensuing drive, the Dolphins go in and score, and it's 21-21 instead of it being 28-13 in favor of the Bears. The Bears drive the field, a nice 6+ minute drive. Keeps the defense on the sideline, gets them the much-needed rest, puts the Bears up 28-21. A beautiful throw from Trubisky to Anthony Miller. Most likely, it looks like it was the same play that they missed earlier in the game. They went back to it, and they got the touchdown, 28-21. One play into the next drive. Albert Wilson, 75 yards, zigs and zags his way through the defense to tie the game at 28. And that's where we're at right now. The Bears just avoided a huge disaster. Tariq Cohen catches the pass out of the backfield, is headed towards midfield, and fumbles the football. Helmet on the ball, knocks it right out. Dolphins recover. The Bears stop them. I mean, and the defense we just saw against the Dolphins is the defense we've been missing all day. The Bears are flying all over the place. The Dolphins don't know what to do, shutting things down. The Dolphins barely gained a yard on that drive before they punted it back to the Bears. The Bears kneeled on it, and it's overtime. Here's the coin toss. Miami won the toss. I think Miami wants the ball. So Miami's going to start with the football. It's tied at 28, but we shouldn't be here. This game should have been over, but thanks to a ticky-tack offensive pass interference call, we're going to overtime to see whether or not the Bears can make it 4 in a row.
Now, I want to be clear. The Bears didn't lose the game because of the pass interference call, as heavily as I was leaning on that at the time. It was definitely the turning point, though. It was the point where everything just went sideways, because instead of the Bears having their 4th straight scoring drive of the second half, because of this penalty on a play that happens in pretty much every offensive passing snap in the NFL, there's some kind of pick going on. We get flagged for it, and on the next play, Mitch makes a bad decision, throws the ball to the wrong. But to Ben Broniker, of all people, Ben Broniker, really? That's who we're trying to get the football to? But instead, he throws it in double coverage. He gets it picked off. Miami goes the other way, and the first Albert Wilson pass happens from about 47 yards out, and now it's a tie ball game instead of the Bears having a 15-point lead. I mean, let's just say, even for argument's sake, that the Dolphins take the ensuing kickoff and score anyway. It's still 28-21, and then the Bears come right back after that and throw the touchdown pass to Anthony Miller. It's 35-21, and we're still coasting along here, and it's a non-issue. But instead, because of that penalty, because of how ticky-tack it was a turning point. That's not why the Bears lost. The Bears turning the football over twice in the red zone yesterday, Mitch's interception, Jordan Howard's fumble, that's why we lost the game, among other things. But, that was definitely the turning point in the fourth quarter where the momentum shifted, because it went from being the 4th straight offensive scoring drive for the Bears, and then it became a tie football game, just like that. A 28-13 lead became a 21-21 tie, and even resulted in the Bears having to take this thing into overtime to try to win it. And that was I was pissed off. You'll even hear me say it in the overtime knee-jerk reaction here in a second. The referees cost the Bears the game in this one. 24 hours plus removed from that I don't believe that. That's definitely how I was feeling at the time. That was the turning point, is the more accurate thing to say. That was the turning point. The Bears lost because they didn't play defense yesterday. They couldn't tackle worth a damn, and we turned the ball over twice in the red zone. So that's why we lost. I mean, not even really putting on Cody Parkey for missing that 53-yarder in overtime. He had plenty of leg. He just hooked it right. We'll talk about that here in just a minute. But that's why the Bears lost yesterday. 2 turnovers in the red zone, and our defense not being able to answer the call yesterday. That's why the Bears are 3-2 instead of 4-1. So, but we talk about this overtime. Probably one of the most exciting 10 minutes the NFL has put together in quite some time. Unfortunately, it just didn't go our way.
Knee-jerk reaction to overtime between the Bears and the Dolphins, and Jesus Christ, talk about an up and down period. I mean, the Dolphins get the kick. They get the opening kickoff, I guess. They take it all the way down to the 1-yard line. I mean, there was a play on 3rd and 11. I thought we were done. I thought we were absolutely finished. No matter what happens, the Bears aren't meant to win this football game. 3rd and 11, Osweiler rolls out. He's under pressure for one of the few times in the whole football game. Gets the pass off. Adrian Amos has got his back to the ball, sticks his hand out. It ricochets off of his hand for the Dolphins on 3rd and 11. And I just thought, that's it. This is their day. I mean, it's teams that get plays like this don't end up losing. It's ridiculous. They get the ball all the way down to the 1-yard line, and Kenyon Drake, instead of Frank Gore, who's been gashing the Bears all day today, Kenyon Drake gets in there. Akeem Hicks comes in, gets a hand on the ball. It fumbles it at the 1. Eddie Goldman recovers it on the goal line, giving the Bears a touchback. I mean, just a miracle of a defensive play. I mean, and just looking at Akeem Hicks after he made the play, that's all he had left in the tank. I mean, the heat and the humidity has absolutely just made the defense a shell of itself today. And here come the Bears. They move the ball down the field. They set up a 53-yard attempt for Cody Parkey, who's got plenty of leg, hooks it wide right. And then the Dolphins come back down. They get into field goal range again, a 47-yard attempt with 3 seconds left. So we're either going to tie or we're going to lose. And we lose because the kick was perfect. The Bears' 3-game winning streak is snapped. The Dolphins stay perfect at home. We move in. We come back home at least. I mean, maybe we'll get our defense back when we come back home. But we dropped. This is a game. We should have won this game. You guys heard what I said in the fourth quarter knee-jerk reaction, how basically the referees cost the Bears this game. That offensive pass interference call was bogus. It changed the entire football game, and we're talking about the Bears losing instead of them coasting to a victory over the Dolphins. It's just insanity. So the defense was terrible today, no doubt, but it should have never gotten to this point. The referees cost the Bears the game, in my opinion.
First things first. I know you guys don't like it when I bring this up, but I do. It's not your technical, or it's my technical problems. There were some mistakes in there, but I need to get some new software. It's an old program and it stalls sometimes, and that's what happens when I record those knee-jerk reactions. What I was trying to say was on that 3rd and 11 play, it ricocheted off of Adrian Amos into the waiting arms of another Dolphins receiver, and what was 3rd and 11 and a good defensive play from Amos turned into a 35-yard gain for the Dolphins. And then talking about the Akeem Hicks play, when I went back and looked at the highlights just before I started recording the show, I didn't realize that Akeem Hicks actually missed the tackle. He tackled Kenyon Drake at the goal line. Kenyon Drake slips out of his hands, and as Akeem Hicks is falling to the ground because he's got nothing left in the tank, he gets a finger on the football, and it comes out. I mean, unbelievable. He misses the tackle, but makes the play. And that's why Akeem Hicks makes the big bucks right there, because he actually caught Kenyon Drake, hit him head on right at the line of scrimmage. Kenyon Drake slips out of his hands, and as he's slipping out of his hands, Akeem Hicks gets a finger on the ball and brings it out. Eddie Goldman recovers it at the goal line. The Bears are going back the other way. Now, on this offensive drive, Jordan Howard went into beast mode. 19-yard gain, gets about another 15 yards on another carry and what have you. We get the ball to 3rd and 4. 3rd and 4, and we run the ball. Only get about another yard, setting up a 53-yard field goal for Cody Parkey. Now, couple of things about that. Number one, running the football at that point, in hindsight, not a good idea. Number one, we ran it with Tariq Cohen. He didn't have the hot hand at the moment. You got to keep the ball in Jordan Howard's hands. Number two, Trubisky only attempted one pass play. The guy who had a hot hand all of the second quarter, aside from that one throw that for the interception, he was. I mean, that was the thing. After he threw the interception, that was he came right back out on the field on the next drive, and that's when he hit Anthony Miller for that touchdown. So he rebounded. He had the amnesia that quarterbacks need to have when they make mistakes, and got the Bears back in the end zone. I mean, if the penalty isn't called, the Bears scored touchdowns on 5 straight possessions in the second half yesterday. I mean, that's bananas what our offense is actually doing at this point. It's exciting to watch. I can't wait to see them go head-to-head with the Patriots on Sunday, and I hope I'm not a fool for saying that. I hope I don't end up being a fool for saying that. But, we only attempted one pass in the entire drive, and I think it was the first play of the drive that we threw a ball. I think we got 5 yards to Trey Burton, and then we ran the ball the rest of the way. But not only were we not more aggressive on that third down play. We were running the football basically to try to, I guess, maybe center the ball a little bit more for Parkey as opposed to getting it off the right hash or what have you. Something that I didn't realize until the game was over is that the Bears were 8 for 12 on third down yesterday. 8 for 12, 75%. I mean, usually teams are 4 for 12 on third down, not 8 for 12. Good God. And we couldn't be a bit more aggressive on 3rd and 4. I mean, we gained about a yard on third down, setting up a 53-yard field goal. Like, you don't want to take a shot downfield? I mean, we gained 1 yard. So it went from being a 54-yarder to being a 53-yarder. Big deal. Cody Parkey's got enough leg to make a 70-yard field goal. It's just a matter of putting it through the uprights. And, we got to be more aggressive. You can't lose your nerve in that moment. You can't. And, you can't play not to lose when you've got the head of steam. You tore the heart right out of the Dolphins when you stole that fumble at the goal line. You got the ball going back the other way. You're running it down their throats. Fine. Play action. Go play action and get 5 yards and get the first down so that we can keep going. Don't stop there. You can't do that, man. You can't. And I know this is all hindsight because it didn't work out. Tariq Cohen gets the first down. We're probably not talking about this, but instead he didn't. He got 1 yard, and it was a 53-yard kick instead of a 54-yard kick, and he missed it. And, it goes back to, you're not being more aggressive when it counted. And in that moment on 3rd and 4, we should have been trying to throw the football. We're going to kick the field goal anyway because we've got a guy who's got the leg to do it. So it's going to be a long field goal, but we're in field goal range. Throw the damn ball, see what happens. And Nagy, after the game in his press conference, said, well, I wasn't going to risk the pass there. Then we're getting a sack, and you're asking me why we took a sack. No, we're not. No, we're not. I don't think so. I would have liked it, if we'd have gone for it on third down there and been a bit more aggressive. We had the momentum. We had all of it, actually. Kenyon Drake's on the sidelines with a towel over his head, bawling his eyes out because he thinks he just gave the football game away, and he almost did. So we got to be aggressive there. You can't go soft in that moment. You can't take your foot off the gas pedal. We already learned that lesson against Green Bay. We took our foot off the gas pedal when we had the lead going into the second half, and Aaron Rodgers made us pay for it. Okay, we swore that wasn't going to be a lesson we'd have to learn again. Apparently, we did. We got to learn it one more time at least. We got to stay aggressive for all 60 minutes. I thought that we had alleviated ourselves of that when we racked up 48 against the Buccaneers 2 weeks ago. We're still trying to score touchdowns in the fourth quarter of a game that we had well in hand. That's aggressive. We weren't aggressive in overtime, and we lost the game. Not to mention, Patrick Scales botched the snap. It was a bad snap. I mean, Pat O'Donnell did a good job of getting it down, but you can't have a bad snap in overtime when the game is on the line. You can't do it. So, yeah. So, unfortunately, Parkey missed it. Plenty of leg, but just wide right. It goes back the other way. The Dolphins put it between the uprights, and they come away with the win. They're the ones with the 4th victory in the season. The Bears with their 2nd loss, man. And that was tough. That was tough. So, hindsight being what it is, it was 2 red zone turnovers and poor defense yesterday. That's why the Bears lost, not because of the referees. That was the turning point. That was definitely the turning point. That was the Steve Bartman moment, if you will, in the football game where everything changed after that moment. The Bears did their best. The offense did their best, at least, to hold the Dolphins off, but it was not to be. So, but one last thing that I want to say before we get to our awards for the week. In the NFL, there are going to be days where one unit is going to have to show up for the other, and after the defense being there for the offense in the first quarter of the year, it was the offense yesterday that made it a game against the Dolphins when the defense just didn't have it. We came away with the loss yesterday, but I also came away thinking that we're legit. We are a legit football team. We cut down on mistakes, and we cut down on the mistakes and we win the game. I hate that we lost, but overall, I still feel really good about where we're at. I really do. Usually in the past, I mean, even with in the Cutler Urlacher days, if the defense had a bad day, everybody had a bad day because the offense wasn't going to be there to pick them up. It just didn't happen. And yesterday it was the offense that answered by scoring points and especially in the second half, picking up the defense and what have you. That's the mark of a good football team. When one unit doesn't answer the call, the other one does. In the first 3 weeks, it was the defense that was there for the offense, and now it's the offense that was there yesterday keeping us in the game for the defense. And, to me, I like I said, I hate that we lost, but I still feel pretty good where the team is at right now. Looking forward to this game on Sunday against the Patriots, because this is going to be our are they for real game on Sunday. We come out after the games that we've had against the Patriots the last 2-3 times that we played them, where they just took us to the woodshed, especially the last game in 2014, 53-21 or whatever that ridiculous score was. The Lamar Houston game where he sacks Jimmy Garoppolo in the fourth quarter and then blows out his knee doing his sack celebration. That just sums up that game right there. But, it just looking forward to this game against the Patriots. We're back at home. We're not going to get beat down by 80-degree weather with 900% humidity or anything like that. It's going to be nice and cool fall weather in Chicago. So it's going to be an even playing field, and we're going to have Brady and company coming into town off a big win against the Chiefs last night, and ready to rock and roll. See what Khalil Mack, what kind of nonsense that Khalil Mack can put together for Tom Brady and company next Sunday. So looking forward to that game. But despite the loss, despite everything that went wrong, we still had a chance to win this game. The offense was there to pick up the defense, which, that's a good thing, guys. We're still in a good spot. We're still the best team in the NFC North. I believe that wholeheartedly. And I think we're in a good spot. So we might be 3-2. We should be 5-0 for Christ's sake, but we're 3-2 right now, and we're in a good spot. We got a good football team. We're going to be okay. So that's going to do it for the Week 4 review. What do you say we go ahead and shut this bad boy down with our favorite segment, Bear Up, Bear Down. Word around the campfire is a lot of people lost money on the Bears yesterday. They were 5-point favorites after the announcement came out that Osweiler was starting instead of Ryan Tannehill yesterday. So a lot of bets being made right at the last minute. And, where do you go, or where should you go when you're making any kind of bets, last-minute bets, in-game bets? You want to go to MyBookie. You win and they pay. They have the in-game live betting. They have the over-unders on fantasy points and the most rewarding player perks in the business. And if you can make a deposit, if you're willing to wait until after 7 p.m. Eastern time to make a deposit, you get $25 in free play in deposits over $100, and they'll match your deposit dollar for dollar. So there you go. You double your money. You double your chances with MyBookie. Use the promo code BEARS25 to activate the offer. That's MyBookie, MyBookie. And don't forget to use my promo code BEARS25 when creating your account to claim your $25 and your $1,000 in free play. So if you're willing to hold out until 7, you get that extra cash. So there you go, guys. There's only one place to go. MyBookie. You play, you win, you get paid. So bear ups and bear downs for the week, folks. Very bittersweet because got a great effort out of the offense, especially in the second half. Not so much from the defense, although we do have a few bear ups for the defense as well. Let's start with the bear downs. And my first one goes to Jordan Howard. He didn't have a bad day running the football at all, actually. He was pretty effective. 14 carries for 69 yards, but he's got a goose egg where he's got a goose egg in one place and a 1 in another on the stat sheet. That goose egg is where the touchdown stat is supposed to be, and there's a 1 under the fumbles lost category. That's where the bear down comes from. And it actually has nothing to do with the whole him wanting the ball more and being a better part of the offense and so on and so forth. It just has everything to do with the fumble happening when it did, when the offense was struggling to get something going. They finally had a decent-looking drive. They put it in your hands to put him in the end zone and get this thing tied up. We're back to 0-0 again, and you fumble the ball. So bear down to Jordan Howard. You don't fumble, and you fumbled there. So it's not your fault we lost the game, but that certainly didn't help. Bear down to the defense in general. 0 sacks yesterday, almost as 0 pressure put on Osweiler. Poor tackling. Arm tackling, poor tackling, heat, being on the road, extended layoff, whatever you want to call it. There's no excuse for the way that they played yesterday. Bear down to Cody Parkey. Got to make that field goal, bro. It's a 53-yarder. It's not an easy one to make, but that's why the Bears gave you $3 million plus a season to be our kicker, to make kicks like that. And let's piggyback on that. Bear down to Patrick Scales. Bad snap on the field goal attempt. I don't know how much of an effect it had on the kick. I mean, Pat O'Donnell did a great job of recovering from the snap and got it down in time for Parkey, but you never know. Maybe it shook Cody Parkey a little bit, and he didn't quite, who knows. But not a good time to have a bad snap, and, so bear down to Patrick Scales. And then bear down to Matt Nagy. You heard me talk about it during the fourth quarter knee-jerk or actually during the overtime knee-jerk reaction, the fact that it seemed like he lost his nerve during the overtime drive, that third down play. Let's do a play action. We're killing them with the run. Why couldn't we set something up for just a little something out in the flat to Cohen or Burton or Gabriel, whatever. Make some kind of an effort there instead of just taking the field goal. It was a 53-yard kick after a 1-yard gain on third down. No good, man. We can't do that. We got to stay aggressive all the way through. And you were aggressive for 60 minutes, but the game went 70 yesterday. So you got to be aggressive for 70 minutes, not 60. So got to be better than that, man. So we move on to the Bear Ups. Bear Up, Taylor Gabriel. An amazing day yesterday. Over 100 yards on a handful of catches. Just an amazing job from Taylor Gabriel. Big play guy, set up a lot of good stuff for the offense yesterday. Allen Robinson, another touchdown grab, a crazy catch down by the goal line yesterday. So living up to that money that we're paying him. Bear up to Kyle Fuller. 2 interceptions yesterday, his first 2 of the year. Nice to know you're still out there, Kyle. We missed you. Bear up to Roquan Smith. I think he had like 10, 11 tackles yesterday. The guy was everywhere. Granted, a lot of those tackles were about 7 yards downfield, but Roquan was the guy making them and making sure that those 7-yard runs didn't become 17-yard runs. So, but Roquan was all over the place yesterday. It was nice to see. Didn't have the best game yesterday, but Akeem Hicks, you caused the fumble that saved the game. It was going to be a loss yesterday. It would have happened a lot sooner. The margin of defeat would have been larger, but you make the play, you knock the ball loose, give the Bears a chance at least to try to take it back and score it. So bear up to Akeem Hicks. Bear up to Tariq Cohen. What a weapon this guy is. You just had a feeling he was going to be something special in Matt Nagy's offense if it was anything like the one they're running in Kansas City. And he is our Tariq Hill. This guy is everywhere. He's even more dangerous in the passing game than he is coming out of the backfield. It's just amazing what Cohen has done in the first 5 games of the year. And then bear up to Trubisky. The first half was not pretty, but you end up 22 of 31, 316 yards, 3 touchdowns yesterday, 124 quarterback rating. Got that 1 interception, but that didn't lose us the game. So that's why you make the bear up list instead of the bear down. But, backs up week 4's performance against Tampa Bay with another solid one. He turned a lousy first half into a solid performance in the second half. And quite frankly, Nagy should have put the ball in his hands yesterday in overtime. You know, the running game worked like a charm, but on that third down play, that was a much bigger play than Nagy treated it, and the ball should have been in Trubisky's hands. You know, he's the second leading rusher on the team yesterday. Why don't we just let him see if he can, you know, roll out on the bootleg, let him run for it, or have him throw it out of bounds? Who cares? We gained 1 stinking yard. It went from a 54-yarder to a 53-yarder. Put the ball in Trubisky's hands. So, again, bear down Matt Nagy, bear up Mitch Trubisky. Let's do it again next week and show up Tom Brady at Soldier Field. That's going to do it, folks. The Week 6 review episode is now in the books. That is going to do it. We will be back on Thursday when Alex Shane from Pat's Pulpit and SB Nation will join us to preview Bears and Pats. It's going to be an interesting matchup. Let's see how he feels about the Bears now as opposed to, you know, how we were kind of looking at it over the summer. So come back on Thursday for that. And until then, my name is Larry D, and this has been the Bears Talk Underground.